Greetings, duplicant, and welcome to the breach. Today we skip forward in time slightly. I've excavated the extremely large swamp biome off camera. During this excavation I've come across 6 geysers or vents, and we're going to look at how I deal with them at the start of the game. First up, we have this hydrogen vent. It's a resource you can only really access mid-game because hydrogen vents spit out the hydrogen at 500 degrees Celsius, which is too hot for gold amalgam or copper to be used. Once you've got access to steel, you can safely and easily tap this resource to produce you lots of power. You can also use the heat of the gas to power a steam turbine by boiling water, which would also cool the gas before you need to pipe it anywhere. So even though I don't have access to steel, I'm still going to tap this vent so I have a supply of hydrogen when I do access steel. The vent will keep releasing hydrogen until the pressure is 5 kilograms per square. I'm going to create a water lock, then pump out all the gases within the area and then access the vent itself. When I first started the construction, it wasn't venting, but as soon as the construction started, I noticed that the vent became active. So I won't be able to analyse the geyser to find out how much of the hydrogen is being released until I have access to atmospheric suits. By pumping out all the gases, we make sure that there's no pollutants when we ship this gas off to a hydrogen generator. And we've got our liquid lock in place, and we've got the hamster wheel working, and we are pumping out the gases. And here we have our saltwater geyser. We've had time to analyse this geyser and we are on the clock. It's going to erupt soon, so we need to create our collection facility and put in the means of extraction before it erupts 95 degrees Celsius hot water everywhere. The hot water isn't necessarily useful straight away, but later on when we need to pump water into oil wells to extract the oil, it is a useful source once it's been desalinated. As you can see, I'm building a fairly large storage area. I have plenty of space, and later on I will be needing a lot of water for extracting oil, as I've already said, or even producing oxygen and hydrogen for rockets. As the water comes out at 95 degrees, I can use a gold amalgam for the pumps, and I'm using some of my precious copper metal to supply power, so I do not have to go back into the storage area once I've sealed it up. When I am creating a build, I do like to leave things tidy, so I will be removing all my infrastructure inside the tank and removing all the debris as well, which can take some time but does make me feel better, or it doesn't cause me to feel uncomfortable when I'm looking at a messy storage tank later on anyway. A quick look back at our hydrogen vent, and as you can see, we are nearly complete. It's nearly a vacuum. Remove the infrastructure, unseal the vent, and then seal the water lock so it doesn't overheat and turn into steam. Got to tidy as you go. Carrying on with our research, we're going to choose the desalinator. Here we are unplugging the hydrogen vent and then quickly sealing up the water lock. Just finishing enclosing the saltwater geyser. This is a polluted oxygen vent. It releases the oxygen at 500 degrees Celsius. I'm just not going to bother with it. It's not worth the hassle. And here we have a copper volcano, but we don't have the necessary research unlocked to deal with, so we'll be coming back to this in a later episode. We're over 100 cycles in and we haven't dealt with our carbon dioxide problem. All I've done is dug down, creating a great big well of carbon dioxide. So now I'm going to build a carbon skimmer to remove that CO2. I'm also going to build an oxygen diffuser to replace the CO2 that we're removing, because I will be needing my duplicates to work down here for the foreseeable future and I want them to be able to breathe. In the next episode, I'll be expanding this little section of industry to also build some metal refiners and increase my store of copper, as I need to get a self-powered oxygen maker built and I need to get my duplicants into atmospheric suits. And here's our saltwater geyser erupting. And here we have a cool steam vent. These release steam at 95 degrees Celsius. What I've done is very similar to the hydrogen vent. I've created a enclosed area. I've pumped out all the other gases. Later on we could strap some active cooling, but until then I've just left some cool water in the bottom, which will eventually condense any steam that the vent releases. Cool steam vents are often found unplugged and releasing the steam into a biome. This can cause a problem if this biome is right next to your starting area and leaking heat into your base. So you often need to seal it off as soon as possible. But if you're going to do that, I recommend you build yourself a hospital to deal with injured dupes early on. And here we have a cool slush geyser. This is hitting the jackpot when it comes to looking for vents and geysers early on. It releases salt water at minus 10 degrees Celsius, which gives an easy way to cool your base early on. You deal with it exactly the same way as you did the hot saltwater geyser, and in a future episode we'll be looking at it on how to cool and supply water for a self-power oxygen maker. In the last episode I said don't build the kiln inside your base, and as you can see the temperature has rocketed in the area that I built it, which would have caused all our plants to die in our base if I'd left it in there. In the next episode I'll be building some metal refiners and moving a lot of water around. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.